Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Arizona State Hockey YouTube's presentation of the 2019 ACHA Division I Men's Ice Hockey. I am Brett Fawn as the Sun Devils play Game 2 of the Cactus Cup as they face the University of Arizona Wildcats. It was a close, tightly contested game last night as it was Elliot Plird scoring early into the contest with the lead 1-0 for the Sun Devils, and it took all the way until the dying embers of the third period where it was ended up being number 9, Cameron Timor, for the University of Arizona Wildcats, tying the game up and then winning the game in overtime. Coach Berman for the Wildcats credited his team's ability to stay in the game was due to their veteran leadership, as well as blocking shots, paying a price in front of the net when they were trying to claw their way back into it in the third period, as well as their excellent goaltending from Anthony Churro, number 30, for the Wildcats. For Arizona State, it was a disappointing loss as they had the lead for the majority of that game. Talking with assistant coach Austin Klein, he said that their third period discipline was lacking, and that's what ended up leading them to lose the hockey game as they gave up a power play goal near the end of that game to end up going 1-1 into overtime. That's going to be something for your folks at home to look at and pay attention to for how Arizona State stayed disciplined within the game. Folks, get buckled up and get ready to go as we'll have live first period of action here on Arizona State Hockey YouTube in just a few minutes. Everyone, thank you so much for tuning in tonight for tonight's broadcast, as it's the number 10 ranked Arizona Wildcats coming into Tempe, Arizona, as they finish out a 2-game series. And for tonight's starting goaltenders, it's brought to you by Just Dishin'. For the visiting Wildcats, in goal will be number 35, Nolan Bivelich. Defenseman, number 17, Ben Jones. And number 13, Matthew Hull. Forward grouping for the Wildcats, number 14, Coley Olson. Number 19, Justin Plumhoff. And number 25, Trey Decker. For the home Sun Devils, it'll be number 1, Bronson Morrigan playing tonight. The forward groupings, number 6, Brendan Studioso. Number 8, Damon Porter, and number 19, Clayton Lackey. Defenseman, number 7, Jack Hosworth, and number 12, Michael Slavic. And those were your Just Dishin' starting lineups. Just Dishin' connecting the dots between fashion and hockey. And now we are underway as draw 1 by Arizona State's Damon Porter, and we'll try to get that puck in deep. Lackey could intercept that pass. Plumhoff will chip it in on his backhand side and go in on the forecheck. Seemed like it was a key of emphasis for the Wildcats last night of trying to get down low, and they had a beautiful scoring chance opportunity, and it was a one-timer stop by Bronson Moore. Already seeing it paying dividends already, as Arizona State couldn't really sort out that forecheck, ended up almost costing them if it wasn't for Moore's save. Draw's going to be to the left of Moore. Porter will stay out there for Arizona State. Puck ends up getting shot down by Ryan Lanfer, but just short of icing. Bivelich will have to play it behind his own net. Bivelich has to be careful with it, and he just elects for the safe play, but trying to wait for a whistle, and I think we finally got one. A little miscommunication possibly with the referees. It was a tightly contested tilt last night, as only 3 goals scored in all of the game. Ended up needing overtime as well to settle the tie. There's also a back and forth exciting overtime period for the folks at home, I imagine. Wildcats mess up on that breakout pass, but icing's waved off. Kowalchuk, reverse pass to his defensive partner, Lanfer. Lanfer will just elect to chip it. Icing waved off by the linesman, and the defenseman will go for a change. Behind his net, Manny Rowe. He'll find the goal scorer who tied it up last night, Cameron Timor. He couldn't get the puck in the offensive zone the first time. Sun Devils trying to go the other way. Shaw gets the puck stripped away from him. McLaughlin circling around back in his own zone. He'll go tape to tape with Elliot Plurd. Plurd has to eat a check, but he ends up shooting the puck into the Arizona bench, and we'll have a whistle. Beautiful performance for the Arizona goaltender Anthony Churro last night. He's going to get a night off as he faced a lot of shots, including 2 breakaway chances that were both saved. Connor Kruk rims it hard around in his own zone. Chambers will chip it out into the neutral zone. Arizona's defenseman, number 26, Justin Dungy, feels the pressure, and he'll dump it back down. Chambers couldn't handle that puck in his skates, and Sun Devils have to try and regroup again, and they do. Jet Larson on the right side. Larson trying to look for that redirection play. Bivelich makes the save. Larson ends up getting pinned to the wall. That allowed the Wildcats to get out of their own zone and relieve the pressure. Just past 2 minutes left in this first period, and Bivelich will elect to glove it for a whistle. Though it was the first game for the Wildcats of the season last night, it definitely didn't look that way, as head coach Chad Berman really loved the experience shown by his Wildcats team of being able to stay composed throughout the contest as they were down a goal the majority of it. Sun Devils trying to forecheck the puck. So we have a rugby scrum ensuing down on that far right corner of the ice. Trying to find it. The fourth line for Arizona State's out there. Alex Searing trying to mix it up as well as Timothy Hoffenkamp. Wildcats will come out with speed though. Wrist shot on, and Moore is able to glove it down with no rebound. Again, a similarly slow start to the game that we had last night. It took around the second, especially that third period, to finally have some end-to-end action going on. It'll be Max Meyer for the Wildcats in the circle. He wins it over Porter. Wildcats controlling it. Marshall playing it back down low to Johansson. Johansson get that shot on, it's blocked. A second chance opportunity, and Moore was able to find it as that puck was bouncing. Once that initial shot ended up hitting his blocker, and he had to glove it out of midair. Porter wins it on a strong side, hard rim by the defenseman McLaughlin, gets it out of the zone. Trying to find it, Damon Porter. No look pass to Brandon Studioso on the right side. Studioso's waiting for his line mates, trying to find Lackey. They couldn't connect. Down the corner, Lackey decides to cycle it down low. Sun Devils now going to work in the offensive zone. Porter couldn't get it past the defenseman, Ben Jones. Lackey trying to find it. Looks like it's going to end up being a delayed penalty call against the Sun Devils, and Moore will touch it up, and we'll have our first penalty of the game. Looks like it's going to be a hit it in the back call. It's number 6, Brandon Studioso. And the Wildcats will have their first power play opportunity of this game. And the Sun Devils penalty kill is brought to you by Kowalchuk Construction, Design Build Services. Draw one by Bailey Marshall. Jet Larson does just enough to get that puck over the blue line, and the Wildcats will have to tag up. Bailey Marshall with the puck now. One of the leaders of this Wildcats team. He'll stop at the hash mark. Couldn't get the pass back from his defenseman, but they still have the control of the puck. Johansson with the no-look shot, misses wide, and that allowed the Sun Devils to go for a quick change. Anthony Cusinelli finds Marshall on the left side on his forehand. Marshall trying to deke around the defenseman Landfair. He can't. Landfair with the puck, trying to fight off a few Wildcats players in the corner. They'll come up to the point. Matthew Hull elects it to be played back down to Marshall. Marshall gives a pass up, rebound in front. As it was Alex Johansson that time trying to get to that puck off the rebound. He couldn't get it. Palumbo can't clear the puck for Arizona State. It's still in danger. Wildcats fire and they shoot and they score! Anthony Cusinelli, one of the leading goal scorers even in all the ACHA, ends up breaking the tie at 1. The Sun Devils had at least 1 or 2 opportunities to get out of their own zone. The glaring chance had to be one of the veterans of the Arizona State team, Austin Palumbo, just didn't get enough mustard on it. It ended up being kept in, and the Wildcats worked it over to that weak side where there was enough space for Cusinelli to get enough momentum and on that shot and blow it past Moore. Arizona State wins the draw. Kruk with an area pass. Gets it taken away. Puck's now in front of the Arizona State bench. Shaw. Indirect pass to Husted. Husted cutting his way in. Husted with the shot on. Rebound still loose. Plaird couldn't get the backhand shot on. Trying to find it up in his skates. Puck gets chipped by the defender, McLaughlin, and he has to retrieve it behind his own net. But it gets taken away by Decker. Moore is able to fish it out with his stick and poke it away and deny that dangerous scoring opportunity. Justin Dungy skating out of his own zone with speed. Dungy cutting through the middle. Wrist shot on, ends up getting blocked by the skate of Slavic. Puck trying to be centered out in front. Porter hacking at it. Wildcats have the puck. Timor coming out of the zone. Timor trying to get it to his forehand side. He will. Works it behind the net with Wade. Wade cycles it back down around. Timor looking for that pass, and that seam pass couldn't find Wade on the back door, and Plurd clears it out as Arizona State goes for another change. Icing's waved off. Hosworth feeling the pressure, but he ends up turning the puck over right away. Centering in front as Jesse Lowell puts that puck right through the crease. Westland for Arizona. Trying to sustain some zone pressure now. Comes to Manny Rowe. He can't handle the puck at the point. He gets that shot on as he was getting rushed by Clayton Lackey, and that puck gets redirected up into the netting. Arizona State wins a draw. Kowalchuk, a hard chip off the glass. Only get its way to the center ice dot, though. And it'll be thrown back in. Lanford over to Jet Larson. He has to handle on his backhand side. It was a chip, but it ended up being kept in by Ben Jones for Arizona. About 6 players digging for it on that right side. It'll get shipped up into the area by Drew Platt. That'll relieve the pressure for the Sun Devils. Matthew Hull. Cross-ice pass. It'll find Dawson Marshall. Marshall gets his pass blocked away. Sweeping it away for Arizona State with Daniel Chambers. Kowalchuk. A little too hot to handle for Jet Larson. Sun Devils will have some time to possibly break out as the Wildcats have to touch up. I'll now find Jet Larson now. Larson ends up going into the zone offside. Not so much for the Sun Devils so far out of maybe 1 or 2 chances this period as the Wildcats took that early 1-0 lead if you're just joining us on the power play, courtesy of Anthony Cusinelli. Wildcats go D-to-D. Go find that far side winger, Ethan Stahlhuth. Stahlhuth with a snapshot on, and Moore makes the stick save. Puck's not settling down. Hoffenkamp will get it from Browder. Hoffenkamp on the left side. Cycles it down to Browder. Browder with the snapshot on, and that was an active Arizona stick, deflecting that up and out of play. Good to see Kyle Browder out there as he was battling a small injury entering this season. This is his first game in a Sun Devil uniform. Hoffenkamp gets sent out. Alex Singh will have to take over. He can't win the draw. Arizona with speed. We'll find Plumoff. Plumoff on the right side. Plum with a snapshot on. And that one smothered up by the goaltender Moore. In terms of zone time so far for Arizona State, not too much. Chances really just been one and done and not been able to really pin the Wildcats in their own zone. Arizona State gets kicked out again. Puck still sitting in front of the face-off dot. It'll now be hard rimmed away by Lanfer. Manny Rowe gets that pass and that redirection in from Plumoff and deep into the offensive zone for the Wildcats. Kowalchuk with a tight turn allows the Sun Devils to get away. Husted with speed on the left side. Husted hits the brakes. To Player, the one-timer shot, still loose in front. And an athletic stop by Nolan Bivelsic as he threw out the right pad to deny Player. Beautifully well worked off the rush as Kowalchuk was able to head man the puck. And Plurd was able to put it in an area for Houston to really get the defenseman off guard for Arizona, and was able to hesitate and get that passing lane available for Elliot Plurd, and just a better save by Bivilsic. Draw one by Husted, D-to-D. Osworth dumps it down deep. Shaw there for Arizona State. Puck ends up taking a few weird hops and out of play. Looks like the draw will stay in the offensive zone, though, for Arizona State. Saw this also a lot last night in terms of that initial centerman being kicked out of the draw by the linesman. Possibly due to a number of different infractions, possibly cheating on the draw or maybe lining up too late. Shaw using his big frame, ends up getting pinned to the boards by Plumhoff. Still loose, and Husted with a quick slap shot from the hash mark ends up being saved by Bivilsic. Husted retrieves the puck in the corner. Taking over to his backhand side, cycles it back down to Shaw. Shaw loses out to Plumhoff. Plumhoff can get the puck out. Osworth bangs it back in. Husted coming in. Slavic's trying to pinch in. Puck is just kept in by Plurd, but that second effort is finally cleared by the Wildcats. Redirection from Houston ends up being taken away by Camden Armstrong. Wildcats coming in now. It'll be Kyle Wade. Wade trying to curl back up to the point, ends up losing the puck. Referee's also in the way. Clayton Lackey plays it in an area, but it gets dumped back in by the defenseman Armstrong. Just under midway in this first period, it's a 1-0 Wildcats lead. Osworth will find Lackey. Lackey now turning on the Jets. Lackey over to Studioso as it's a give-and-go play, and Lackey's shot ends up getting redirected and hitting the upper netting, and we'll have a stoppage. Sun Devils have been starting to turn it on these last few minutes, having a lot more offensive zone draws. Porter couldn't win the draw. Hardrum around, finds a winger, Jesse Lowell, but he gets his pass intercepted by Crook. McLaughlin ends up beating a check, but turns the puck over in the process. Crook getting communication from his bench. DDD pass a little too hot for McLaughlin. Trying to find it, Lackey. He gets pinned to the boards by Kyle Wade. Wildcats possessing the puck again. Timor ends up deciding to retrieve the puck himself. Arizona State trying to calm the puck down. They finally do. Lackey stops, crosses the center ice line, has some space now. Lackey with the wrist shot on. That ends up getting blocked away by Lanford. Timor on the left side, kicks it out. Aaron pass, could be a quick turnover. 3-on-1 opportunity for the Sun Devils. Lackey on the right side. Lackey looking. A saucer pass. Oh, and it's still loose. Studioso again, he shoots, he scores! Alert play by Brandon Studioso, as I think even the Wildcats possibly thought the play was done. But Studioso stuck with it, ends up putting the rebound home, and he ties it at 1. Ended up being a costly turnover at the offensive blue line for the Wildcats. Gave a 3-on-1 opportunity with Clayton Lackey intercepting the pass. As he was trying to sauce it over to Elliot Plurd, the sprawling defenseman for Arizona ends up blocking the pass, and it was still loose in front as there's a lot of commotion. Bivilsic didn't know where it was, the goaltender for U of A. And Studioso ended up finding it and roofing it into an empty net.
ASU goal scored by number 6, Brendan Studioso.
It looks like we might have a weird ACHA play here happen, as if Arizona State ended up scoring on a delayed penalty. Trying to remember from when I played back in my days in the ACHA, then that team is still awarded that power play after the fact. And I think that's what we're going to have. It's going to end up being number 15 for the Wildcats, Anthony Cusinelli, going to the box for interference. Wildcats win the draw. They'll dump it all the way down. Moore elects to play it. Now behind his net, even showing off his skating skills as well. Kowalchuk getting harassed there by Marshall. Now he'll set up once more. Far side pass from Lackey ends up being intercepted by Matthew Hull. Wildcats get some fresh penalty killers out. Studioso. Backhand patch, fine Plurd cutting through the middle. Plurd ends up getting his pass intercepted by the skate of Ben Jones. Hard clear by Plumoff. Arizona State switching up their power play unit as 60 seconds has elapsed and this 2-minute minor penalty to Cusinelli. Chambers controls a sauce pass. They'll slow it down, ends up eating a check in the process, but it finds Jet Larson. Larson with the snapshot on gets blocked. Hosworth pivoting around. Now he walks the line. D to D over to Husted. Husted gives it right back. Husted, the one-timer shot. It's still loose in front. Trying to dive for it. It ends up being a whistle as that puck looked like it was still loose when Husted released it on the clap bomb. Puck ended up trickling almost over the pads of the shoulders of Bivulsic, and somehow that puck did not go in. Pretty amazing, this game's still tied right now. Husted wins the draw. Shaw eats a check, but that'll allow his line mate Chambers to get the puck. Chambers gets his pass intercepted by Manny Rowe. Rowe goes for that soft area chip and heads to the bench for a change. 15 seconds left now. Possibly a couple more opportunities for the Sun Devils. Saucer pass from Husted to Chambers. Chambers has to dump it down low. Enough speed, though, it'll reach Husted. Husted. Shaw operating underneath the goal line. Jet Larson with the puck still. Stick handling in a phone booth. Trying to find, ends up finally losing out. And they'll have to regroup. Hard pass, tripped up right in front of the Arizona State bench, but it gets taken away, though. Jet Larson still out there from the power play unit. He's got to be a little gassed. And looks like we have a penalty being called as the play was whistled down. And it's going to be a slashing call awarded to one of the heroes of last night's game for the Wildcats, number 17, Ben Jones. Last night ended up blocking 4 shots in one shift. This time, something not so much of a positive thing by having to take a penalty. And this power play for Arizona State will be brought to you by Harper's Roofing Incorporated, a family-run business since 1992. Draw one by Porter. Lackey walking the line, gets it back from Studioso. Sun Devils on the perimeter still. Studioso, the no-look pass. They'll keep the puck now as a lane, shooting it right in front. Bivulsic, he made the first stop but allowed a rebound to pop out, but he was able to put a glove on it before any Sun Devils were there. Draw ended up being won by the Sun Devils. Lackey hesitating. Lackey now. Brings it back to Studioso. Studioso walking up the wall. Gets it right back. Plurd. Back up to the point. Now finds Kowalczyk on the other side, looking for that backdoor pass, and puck skated right through, but no one was there. And a diving defensive play by Clayton Lackey was able to deny Dawson Marshall on a possible breakaway chance. And it looks like it's going to end up being a charging call to Damon Porter. And that's something that head coach Tate Green's not going to like, as that power play now gets negated and we're going to have some 4-on-4 play. Faceoff's going to be in the defensive zone for Arizona State. Draw one by the Sun Devils. Kowalczyk runs it back around. Platt couldn't settle that puck down and ends up turning the puck over to the Wildcats. Timor passing it to Rowe. He gloves it down. Ends up leaving it for Decker. Decker's pass a little too far ahead of his winger Plumoff, and that'll be an icing call. 5:04 left in this first period. It's 1-1. We thank you so much for joining us tonight on Arizona State Hockey YouTube, and make sure to subscribe to not miss out on any future Sun Devil action. Platt keeping the puck in. Kowalczyk, he gives it right back to Platt, though. Platt with some space. Platt ends up misfiring on the wrist shot. Wildcats try to leave their own zone. Timor now with some speed. Mishandling the puck, he gets it right back. Timor, the short angle shot on, misses wide. Now up to the point, wrist shot on, and that misses a little high from Rowe. Kowalczyk trying to find it. Pass by Decker ends up getting intercepted by Hoffenkamp, and he goes the other way. Hoffenkamp cutting through the middle, and the wrist shot on misses wide to the right. And the Sun Devils will have to get out of the offensive zone. Wildcats go for a quick change. Now the Sun Devils are on a penalty kill as rebound still in front, and he scores out of thin air. Timothy Hoffenkamp makes it a 2-1 lead on the penalty kill. It seemed that both teams were trying to figure out what was going on the ice, as when that penalty expired for the Wildcats, it ended 4-on-4 play, and I think the Wildcats were a little too hesitant in terms of knowing what the situation was, and that allowed Hoffenkamp to skate the puck virtually the whole way down the ice, and he followed up his own rebound from the goaltender Bivelsic, and he puts it away, giving the Sun Devils a 2-1 lead. And you could say it almost was a prelude for what happened last night, as Hoffenkamp was one of the star penalty killers for Arizona State, and he ends up getting rewarded tonight. Puck up to the point. Bailey Marshall gets the right pass. Hits the seam pass to Cusinelli as he opens up the hips, but he gets his wrist shot blocked. About 10 seconds left on the man advantage. Marshall with the shot on the left side of the post. Puck's underneath a few players that ends up being whistled down, and we'll have a breather. There'll be 5 seconds left before the penalty to Porter expires. Wildcats end up switching their power play units now. It'll be Studioso and Westland in the face-off circle to the left of the goaltender Moore. As there's still a bit of a delay, as now the linesman and the referee is going to be talking in the crease in terms of trying to decide of what happened. I think the Wildcats are trying to argue that it might have been a delay of game call, as the puck was underneath an Arizona State player. still debating about it. Not sure what's really going on here. It looks like Kowalchuk is being shown possibly to the bench by one of the linesmen. Not sure if there was something after the whistle, as that would be a big loss if one of the captains for Arizona State would be gone. Now head coach State Green's going to get an explanation. As the bench is right here, I'm possibly trying to see if I can maybe get an explanation as well. So over the PA speaker, it looks like it ends up being a Kowalchuk penalty, but a penalty that I don't think even heard of in my career. Ends up being a penalty for spitting in a disqualification, which, if I'm not sure, he's going to be at least gone for this period, possibly the whole game. Yeah, so I think it's going to be a 5-minute major penalty. And it'll also be a disqualification, which I believe means he's out of the game, and that's going to mean the Sun Devils are going to be down a defenseman for the rest of this contest. Ended up being won by Studioso. Porter ends up coming out as it was a brief, and by brief I mean like 5 seconds opportunity for the Wildcats to have a 5-on-3 opportunity, and we're back to 5-on-4 action now. Wildcats entering the zone with speed. Cusinelli. Cusinelli with a quick snapshot on, and Moore is able to hug the puck up against the post and have a stop. Puck still being fought for. Collected by the Wildcats. Sloshing it over to Marshall on this right side. Marshall now up to the point. Jones, he mishandles the puck as it bobbles over the blue line, and the Wildcats will have to touch up. Under 3 minutes left in this first period. Soft chip in. Lanford has to deal with a few forecheckers from the Wildcats. Lanford trying to get there, but he ends up falling down. No call on the play. With some space. Taking his way in as Max Meyer, I was almost able to fit it on the far side, but ended up missing the net. Some good penalty killing shown by appears to me Timothy Hoffenkamp in the corner. Finally gets dislodged by the Wildcats. Cusinelli on that left side. Cusinelli with the wrist shot on. He was trying to toe drag it. Ends up being cleared by Hoffenkamp, and the Sun Devils get a much needed change. He'll be coming over to Cusinelli. Cusinelli on his backhand, protecting the puck. Wheels around the zone. Matthew Hull will have to dump it back hard down. He's getting some pressure from Drew Platt. He gets it right back at the point. He wires one and ends up getting blocked away by the stick of the defenseman Jack Hosworth, and that'll be another Arizona State clear. Quick up play by Bivilsic. Westland's finally able to get the puck in. Searing couldn't pin the puck down low. It'll find Jesse Lowell. Matthew Hull with the shot on, as that time it gets intercepted by Connor Kruk, and Arizona State clears again. Some possible momentum being taken over by Arizona State on this penalty kill so far. Timor takes his way around Kruk. Lackey's able to get there with the second effort, and he dumps it back out again. Arizona in a little bit of a fit right now on the man advantage, as we have under 60 seconds left to play in this first period. Westland on the far side. Gains the zone. Saucers it over to Lowell. Lowell with the wrist shot on, ends up fanning on the shot as Lackey was there with his stick. In the corner, Lowell at the point. It'll find Jones. Timor with the shot on, ends up being blocked by the kneeling defenseman Kruk, and he dumps it all the way down. Under 30 seconds now, not too much energy being shown by the Wildcats, and they finally break the puck up. Marshall on the left side gets that puck poked away, and now a 2-on-1 opportunity. Husted trying to buy some time. Husted with the wrist shot on, ends up missing the net wide. About 5 seconds left. Marshall gaining the zone, ends up getting cleared away by McLaughlin, and that'll end the period. Where it ended up being seemed like it was a possible doom spell of play as Kowalczyk ended up getting disqualified and costing the Sun Devils a 5-minute major penalty they're going to have to kill. It seemed that the Sun Devils possibly got rejuvenated from it, as there's only 1 or 2 shooting opportunities for the Wildcats on that man advantage. With it being 5 minutes, it's going to carry over about 1:31 on the power play for the Wildcats when we resume in the second period. But after 20 minutes of play, it's an Arizona State lead by the score of 2-1 over the Arizona Wildcats. And we'll be back in about 15 minutes to bring you live second period of action here on Arizona State Hockey YouTube. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Arizona State Hockey YouTube's presentation of the 2019 ACHA Division I Men's Ice Hockey. I am Brett Vaughn as we enter in the second period with the Wildcats carrying over a power play after it ended up being a disqualification call for spitting for number 5, Zachary Kowalchuk, the captain of Arizona State. Sun Devils, though, grabbed a lot of momentum ending that first period in terms of killing the penalty off and not allowing Arizona to get any good chances. Hoffenkamp wins the draw. Kruk dumps it all the way down, but it was a little too high, ends up going out of the netting, and instead of the faceoff being down low in the offensive zone, it's going to be right outside the defensive zone, and they're going to have to defend that. Draw win by Arizona. Getting down low, Marshall is able to corral the puck. Ice is a little wet as he was having trouble trying to handle it. Marshall on the left side now to Cusinelli. The one-timer shot. Puck still loose in front. More scrambling to try to find it. Finally whistled down by the referee. And it ended up being a wicked point shot from Ben Jones. Was able to go through some of the body traffic in front of the goaltender Moore, and he had to scramble down on the seat of his pants, and he finally made a save. Draw win again by the Wildcats. Jones over to Cusinelli. Cusinelli sliding over to Marshall. Marshall with the wrist shot on. A little too high, and that'll give a free breakout for the Sun Devils. 40 seconds left on that 5-minute major call to Kowalchuk. Jones headmans it up to Marshall. Marshall getting harassed by Hosworth, but the Wildcats still have it, and a tricky shot ended up being saved by Moore with his stick. And the puck's flared down again, all the way down. Wildcats had a little better of chances in this minute and a half of their power play time, but haven't been able to get anything going. Palumbo with a quick shot on, and Bivilsic had to be alert for it. And with about 8 seconds left, and the draws in the Arizona zone, that might possibly be all the chances they're going to have on this man advantage opportunity. Try one by Westland. Rowe slowly sashaying out of the zone. They'll end up finding Kyle Wade. Wade trying to fight his way to the front of the net. Shot ends up hitting the back of the net. Studioso clears it out to the neutral zone. McLaughlin ends up getting hit down in the corner. Hosworth hustling to the puck. He throws a tight turd on, but ends up spilling a tire in the process. Porter helps out his defenseman. Porter with some speed, gets around to Westland. Westland gives a slashing call, and that'll develop a delayed call on the play as it's finally touched by an Arizona player. As it was great hustle shown by Damon Porter in his own defensive zone to help out his defenseman Hosworth, and he was able to get the extra step on Christopher Westland of Arizona and ended up baiting him to a slashing call. Arizona State on the power play, and the first-year assistant coach Austin Klein reiterated to me earlier this afternoon that they need to throw a lot more traffic in the eyes of the Arizona goaltender to be able to generate some better scoring opportunities. Lackey ends up mishandling the puck. He has to hustle back. Stahlhuth now with a weak backhand shot. He gets it right back, trying to whip it back in front for his line mate Meyer, but it gets blocked. Meyer comes out with it. Meyer streaking to Meyer. He shoots, he scores! And it's another penalty kill goal, this time going in the way of the Wildcats. And it was the hard work of Max Meyer and Ethan Stahlhuth providing the goal for U of A, and it's tied at 2 early in the second period.
Arizona goal, short-handed goal, number 27, Max Meyer. Meyer unassisted, short-handed
And it has been an ongoing theme, as last night it seemed that once that puck was dumped in for both teams, when they have a power play opportunity, they just weren't hustling enough to beat out that 4-man unit. And what do we know tonight? We end up having 2 penalty kill goals scored. Chambers ends up losing a wheel in the corner. He's playing soccer with the puck down, trying to get it up to his stick. It'll now be controlled by Husted. Chambers hoddles up to the point, snapshot on, ends up hitting a leg, and it's a redirection in front. As there's a broken play, and Chambers found the stick of Husted, but Husted just had a little too much of angle on his stick and floated it up into the netting and out of play, similar to my sandwich. Husted and plumb off to the right of Bivelsic. Shaw with a quick backhand shot on, but misses wide. Hosworth ends up getting his puck kept in. Gets it right back. Hosworth looking for a shot. He finally gets a shot through dangerously, but ends up missing wide. Shaw plays it down the corner for Jet Larson. Larson trying to get some space. Shaw protecting the puck. Loose. Arizona being a little more aggressive. Shaw can't make that clean pass. Still loose though. Husted plays it and ends up being tipped by Shaw. Because I don't think the initial shot by Husted would have trebled Bivelsic at all, so it ended up being probably more of a leg pad save, but Shaw with that redirection had to make the goalie think a little more. 32 seconds left on the man advantage for the Sun Devils. Draw win, Lackey to Studioso. To Lackey now. Lackey backwards skating with the wrist shot on, and that goes high over the net. Lackey hustling, he gets there first. He wands it over to Studioso. Studioso a little too strong on the pass. Plurd trying to get around Ben Jones. It'll find Porter on the right side. Porter, saucer pass, quick shot on. Saved by Bivelsic, still loose. Studioso centered it in front. The goaltender Bivelsic out of the net. Lackey now with a one-timer shot ends up being saved, and Arizona has killed their penalty off successfully. Studioso again showing his patience and poise with the puck. And when that rebound came to him, instead of him shooting right away, he was able to get Bivelsic out of his crease. But unfortunately, there's no Arizona State player ready for the pass on the other side of the net. Wildcats win it cleanly. Stahlhuth exiting the zone. Stahlhuth. Drop pass to Cusinelli. Cusinelli trying to toe drag around Slavic. He can't. Hard shot from Dungy ends up getting blocked by Searing. Stahlhuth sends it in front. Still loose as Bailey Marshall couldn't get out of his skates, and Marshall ends up taking a tripping call on the play as he finally touches it up. Marshall goes into the sin bin for a tripping call. As I have to give a tip of the cap to Michael Slavic there on Cusinelli. He's really dangerous and loves to go for that toe drag move every time he feels he has a quick step on the defender, and Slavic was able to snuff it out. So the Sun Devils go back on the power play. It's going to also test the depth of the penalty killers for Arizona, as they've had to kill almost 4 consecutive minutes of penalties. Draw one by Husted. Larson up to the point, almost got it picked off, but Hosworth was there. Chambers eats a check in the corner. Shaw eats one too. Larson. Fine Husted, Larson. Husted now walking the line to Hosworth. Hosworth back, the one-timer shot, and Houston ends up breaking a stick. He runs to the bench and gets a new one. Aaron pass. Houston's able to keep it, but a beautiful toe drag move keeps the play alive. Houston gets it right back. Hosworth walking in. Hosworth with a snapshot on, and it's a kneeling block by the shoulder of Plumoff. He's able to deny the chance. Stalos is able to fork it out of the zone. Plumoff aggressively coming over to the goaltender Moore. Moore dangerously throws it around the other side. Plumoff really working his bones this shift, and he ends up drawing a call against Arizona State, and it's going to be a holding call. Daniel Chambers is heading to the box for a holding call for Arizona State, and that'll negate the rest of their minute and 1 second on the power play. Feels like that's been the case for special teams for both teams so far, that the penalty kills have been excellent, but it's the man advantage of whatever team has it ends up disappointing. We'll have 4-on-4 for just under a minute. Studioso dangerously in his own zone, backhands it out though. They'll find Lanfer. Lanfer trying to get you up on his horse. Ends up turning it over at the blue line. Max Mayer ends up turning it over though, right to Plurd. Plurd whips around with the wrist shot on as Bivosic was able to cover that 5-hole and make a save. Wildcats end up getting a new group of 4 out there. Sun Devils elect to stay, only using 1 defenseman as Lackey is acting as a pseudo defenseman. Plurd a little too aggressive in the circle, he gets kicked out. Wildcats are able to collect the puck. Lackey trying to strip Manny Rowe of the puck. He can't. It'll now be played by Cameron Timor. Try to find it underneath. Timor gets it now. It'll come to Olsen. Olsen with the snapshot on, and that'll miss to the right of the goaltender Moore. Aaron plates a turnover at the blue line. Timor. The one-time opportunity is end up being sticked away by Lanfer. Going the other way, Lackey. Lackey, a toe drag move. Lackey gives it to Plurd. Sun Devils still have it. McLaughlin. Over to Studioso, back to McLaughlin. McLaughlin with a snapshot on as Bivosic is able to make the save with his crest and freeze it. Draw one by Bailey Marshall of the Wildcats. Cusinelli now skating out of the zone. Far side pass is now the Sun Devils are on a penalty kill. Is a beautiful kneeling block by Kruk. He's had a couple of those this game. Ends up getting that clear redirected and out of play. Looks like it ended up being a U of A player's stick in the way, and that'll force the face-off outside of the Arizona State zone. Kruk fighting for it in the corner with Johansson. Wildcats at the point. Ben Jones walking the line on the right side to Marshall. Marshall saucers that pass, but ends up being intercepted by Jet Larson as he's able to get the puck finally all the way down with the help of his defenseman Lanford. Only one Sun Devil out there as it was a dangerous change by ASU. Wrist shot on as Moore was able to snag that puck and not cause a rebound, as it was a 5-on-1 for a few seconds when the Sun Devils made a quick change. Again, with the second period, it allows both teams to be a little more vulnerable as they have to go just a little farther to the bench. 13 seconds remaining on the 2-minute minor penalty to Chambers. Draws. Won by Arizona State as Austin Palumbo is able to fence that puck out into the neutral zone. And that'll kill the remainder of that power play for the Wildcats. McLaughlin ends up losing out to Decker. Decker, backhand pass, no one there for the Wildcats. Puck trying to be centered out in front, ends up getting taken away. Still loose. Wrist shot on dangerously as Moore was screened by his defenseman McLaughlin there for a second, but he made the stop. Decker. Decker gets it taken away by McLaughlin. McLaughlin trying to clear it out the other side. Kept in by Timor. Timor gets it right back. Backhand pass by Timor just off the mark. Shot it ends up getting to the left of Moore and he gloves it. Folks, we say thank you so much for tuning in tonight to Arizona State Hockey YouTube, and we'd like to say a special shout out to Jim and Pat Nellis from Candle Lake, Saskatchewan. Thank you for tuning in tonight as your son Jim appreciates it. Sun Devils still pinned up in their defensive zone. Husted wins the draw. Dekes a few Wildcats players, and he's able to break the puck out himself. Shaw fights through a few checkers of the Wildcats. He gets the zone himself, I thought, but it ends up being illegal and offside. Houston wins a draw, but no defenseman for Arizona State as they had to come to the rescue and lose possession of the puck. Puck's out in front. Johansson's trying to gain the zone. He can't. But it's finally cleared in by the Wildcats. Land for a hard rim around to Shaw. Shaw's redirection out of the reach of Husted. Slavic. First attempt couldn't clear the puck. Second one does, but he turns it over. Lanford ends up getting spun around. Slavic intercepts the pass. Now up to the point. Both players trying to find it. It'll come to Husted. Husted by himself now. It's a one-on-one. Husted trying to get around the defenseman. He can't. As it ends up being Matthew Hull showing him to the door. Puck ends up getting dumped all the way down and rolling end over end, and we'll have an icing. It's going to be the line of Lackey, Studioso, and Porter out there for Arizona State, and it's definitely a tired group as everybody's hunched over on the Wildcat side. Porter trying to find the puck. Lackey's trying to help out his line mate. Kruk couldn't keep the puck in the zone as two Wildcats players beeline to the bench. McLaughlin finds Studioso. Porter's able to get just a touch on it. Bivelstich is able to clear that puck out to the neutral zone. Ends up being a hard check by Kyle McLaughlin, taken by Bailey Marshall. Puck centered out in front. Studioso fakes the shot, cycles it back down low. Porter, backhand pass. Ends up being deflected and out of the zone. Moore couldn't keep the puck from going in the corner. Marshall now centering that pass, but it's weakly centered and gets intercepted. Studioso, far side play, just out of the reach of Lackey, and he'll end up going for an icing call. And that same predicament that the Wildcats were in last faceoff is now having to be faced by the Sun Devils. Shahar will be to the right of the goaltender Moore. Won by Westland. Point shot on, blocked by the skate of Lackey. Operating behind the net, Dungy at the point. Dungy with his head up ends up throwing it back down low. Jesse Lowell with some space. Up to the point. Point shot on from Armstrong, blockered away by Moore. Wade trying to center that in front, but Westland couldn't get the shot through. Now allow Arizona State for a change. Porter on the left side near the end of his shift. Porter fighting against Dungy. End up fighting for it in the corner. Lackey. Spin move. Puck caught up in his equipment and it ends up being blown dead. Puck ends up getting stuck in the paint girdle of Lackey, and I think the linesman was a little reluctant to get that puck. I'm not sure the last time he washed his equipment. Larson trying to bob for it. Can't get there. Slavic throws it back down deep. Timor D-to-D pass. Rowe. Indirect puck bouncing around, not really settling down for anybody. Timor, tight turn in the offensive zone. Dumps it back down deep. Slavic ends up getting stapled to the wall by Olsen. Slavic clears it back out again. Plum off with a weak angle shot. Saved by Moore. Platt. Battling with Plumoff, loses out. Rowe in there for U of A. That behind the back pass ends up getting intercepted. And Larson's able to use a second effort and get that puck out of the zone. Platt with a big hit. Some extracurricular activities after the whistle as that back referee was able to catch a penalty call. As ends up being Manny Rowe. Ends up resulting in a power play for Arizona State. It's going to be a Manny Rowe penalty as he ended up getting a good lick on him by Drew Platt, and right after the hit he ended up being called for a roughing call as the back referee ended up seeing it. Draw kept the puck kept in by Lackey. Lackey now slowing the play down a bit. Porter on the right side. Lackey at the top of the key. Studioso. He switched places. Studioso with the redirection. Puck is front and loose, but the referee didn't see it. It was on the other side of Bivelsic. And the Wildcats end up getting the benefit of the doubt with that early whistle. .7:39 left in the second period. It's a 2-2 hockey game. Draw one by Westland. Lackey keeps it in at the point. Lackey hesitating to Porter now. Porter slides it down to Plurd. Back to Porter. Porter trying to settle that puck down. Lackey on the left side. Lackey skating the wrist shot on. Ends up being blocked away. Wildcats really keeping them out to the perimeter, aggressive on this penalty kill. Lackey with speed, taking it himself. Lackey with the shot on, gets the rebound right back. Bivelsic makes a save. He couldn't reel in the rebound, though. Puck still loose. Studioso. Down deep, Plurd. He bunches up with Hall down low. Lackey now gets it behind the net. Plurd ends up getting the puck up in his skates, gives it back to Studioso. Sun Devils haven't been able to get too many chances so far. Studioso now. Plurd. Plurd and Lackey trying to find each other. Ends up being a forced pass, and that allowed the Wildcats to go for a change. About 30 seconds left on the main advantage. Studioso taking the puck in by himself. On the backhand side, he wheels around. Studioso now hits the brakes. Larson, tight turn. Up to the point, Hosworth. Puck still is in front. Larson ends up just chopping at it, but he misses the net wide. Houston. Houston on left side, switch places with Larson. Straw ends up getting thrown down to the ice. Puck still with Arizona State, though. Chambers at the point. Chambers ends up feigning on the shot. Quickly turns it over. Could be an opportunity for U of A. Bailey Marshall out of the box. Marshall, toe drag around, and beautifully played by the defenseman, Jack Hosworth, for Arizona State. Shaw, now he's going the other way. Shaw, laying down in as he ends up being taken down by Dungy. In the corner, Chambers, backhand pass ends up getting blocked by the sprawling Dungy. And the puck ends up getting redirected and out of play. Ends up being no change for the Wildcats as the puck ended up being deliberately played out of play. No penalty, though. It was an inspiring penalty kill for the Wildcats as they were able to keep the Arizona State players a little frustrated and not allow too many passing lanes to develop in the offensive zone. Hoffenkamp in on the forecheck blocks the rim play. Now it's caught up in the skates of Manny Rowe. Palumbo with his blind pass ends up getting intercepted. Hoffenkamp is still there, though, for Arizona State. Palumbo coming in again. Wildcats will elect to chip it into the neutral zone. Hoffenkamp with a quick regroup play. Hoffenkamp's hesitating, looking for the redirection, and an amazing save by Bivelsic. Just using his athleticism and somehow kept the puck out. Now it's a 3-on-1 opportunity for the Wildcats. Quick shot on as Moore is able to gobble the puck up with no rebound. Perplexed tonight as it was a save somehow Bivelsic made in the first period off a one-timer shot from Houston on the power play. This time again, he makes another amazing save as it was a redirection play from the stick of Austin Palumbo, somehow missed the net. With all that being said, it's still a tied hockey game 2-2 here at Tempe, Arizona. One-timer shot ends up having the puck on edge, misses the net. Armstrong now with the point shot on, takes a few weird hops. It'll find Clayton Lackey. Porter. Cross corner dump. Studioso's there first for Arizona State. He redirects that one in front. No Sun Devils there. Slavic activating from the point. His point shot on. Ends up developing a rebound, but Bivelsic is able to freeze it. Sun Devils finish off the rest of their change. Christopher Westland for U of A ends up getting kicked out of the circle. Draw one by Porter. Wrist shot on by Studioso. It was a juicy rebound, but nobody from Arizona State to take advantage of it. Wildcats now in the offensive zone. A dribbler coming over to Moore, and he had to be careful with that one, and he makes sure to put the paddle behind his glove when he made the save. Porter wins a draw. Arizona State Kruk with a hard rim, but not hard enough as it ends up being kept in by Matthew Hull. Both teams working hard for that puck down in the corner. It'll find Westland. Westland hesitating, protecting that puck. Westland, blind behind the back pass, just dumps it back down deep. Kruk on his backhand side. Just out of the reach of the winger Lackey, but it'll allow Arizona State to clear the pressure. Westland with a regroup. Westland now has a 2-on-1. Westland centers that puck in front. It'll find Timor at the point off the bench. Timor couldn't handle the pass back from Lowell, and Arizona State will try to go for a quick change. Looks like there's still a few tired players out for Arizona State as they're trying to complete it right now. Kruk Hard chip off the glass. Timor is able to keep the puck in for U of A, and he takes it in himself. Timor centers it in front. Puck still loose in front. Ends up being Husted taking it out for Arizona State with speed. Husted on the Jets. Husted, the snapshot on, ends up getting a shot deflected away by Rose Stick. Plurd, he gets taken down beneath the goal line. Timor taking his way through, ends up turning the puck over right in front of the net. Husted ends up being thrown down by Rowe, as you'd have to say that's probably a good penalty to take there, as there was no U of A players in the vicinity in front of the net of Bivelsic. Ended up taking down Husted, which looked like he was going to be the first man on that rebound. And the Sun Devils go back on the man advantage. It'll be now time for a Gallagher Insurance power play for the Sun Devils. Hosworth's pass ends up getting taken away by Bailey Marshall. Marshall keeps the puck. Marshall turns that in front, and it was a diving Clayton Lackey able to intercept the pass. And once the Sun Devils touch the puck up, it ends up being a slashing call now on Arizona State. And for a grand total of 15 seconds, Arizona State was on a power play before committing one themselves. And we'll have 4-on-4 hockey for 1:45 left. Draw one by ASU. Kruk now on the left side, trying to settle that puck down. Studioso just puts that puck in a relatively safe area so they don't turn it over in their own zone, but U of A has the puck. Ends up being an icing play, as it was almost a shot pass from Camden Armstrong, the defenseman, as he was trying to either get a tip from one of the Marshall brothers, or at least maybe him trying to corral the pass so it negated the icing, but they were unable to. Draw one by Hoffenkamp, D to D. Kruk with a snapshot on, as Bivelsic was able to make the stop. Minute and 55 left in the second period. It's a 2-2 hockey game, another close one tonight here at Oceanside Ice Arena, and we appreciate all of you tuning in tonight. Both players end up getting kicked out by the centerman, by the linesman. Draw win by Studioso. Point shot on from Husted. End up being tracked by the goaltender Bivelsic. Looks like even a possible set play, as one of the coaches in the Arizona State bench wanted to yell, "Do the play again." Husted gets his pass blocked by the skate of Plumoff. He'll get it back from Hoffenkamp. He winds up and fires, and the deflection still loose in front. Hoffenkamp trying to get a hold of it. It was a beautiful play. Won the shot by Husted, and to the redirection by Studioso. Arizona's having a little bit of commotion in their own end. They're finally able to break it out and relieve the pressure. Plumoff on the left side. Plumoff stops, getting the shot on, blocked away by Moore. Off the bench, Timor, as he's releasing the shot, it was a beautiful stick lift defensive play by Elliot Plurd. Lanford, it's that puck caught up by the kickboard. Timor stops it down under 60 seconds left in the second period. Houston ends up winning the battle, but as Arizona State touches the puck, it ends up being another penalty call. So it looks like Ryan Lanford, the defenseman, is trying to plead his case. Ends up being a holding call. Part of me, it wasn't Lanford, it ended up being Plurd. Or, pardon me, Houston. So now for about 14 seconds, it'll be a 4-on-3 opportunity for the Wildcats, which will then turn into a 5-on-3 for 15 seconds after that. Hopefully you guys brought your notepad at home with you. Sun Devils can't clear. Kept in by Johansson, out of Marshall. Marshall walking in, and he gets his pass blocked, and Marshall ends up high sticking what looked like to be Porter right up in the chin area. Luckily he's wearing a full cage, or else that could have been a little more ugly. I have to imagine both coaches after this hockey game are going to have some things to agree on of how undisciplined both of their teams have been. So with 36 seconds left, it'll still be a power play for the Wildcats. It's going to be a 4-on-3 opportunity for about 14 seconds until the Sun Devil player Jack Hosworth gets out of the box. Weird offensive zone draw when your team is shorthanded. Plurd couldn't win the draw. Wildcats collected behind their net. Cusinelli, one of the speedsters on this Wildcats team, plays it over to Johansson. Johansson trying to find a passing lane. He gets one finally, and the one-timer shot from Jones misses. They're playing 4-on-4 hockey now. 15 seconds left in the period. Hosworth throws his man down, Johansson behind the net. Johansson still working with it. Johansson, tight turn around Hosworth, sends it in front. Plurd ends up collecting that pass, and that'll do it for the second period. Ended up being a crazy period, but it was only the lone goal from Max Meyer of the Wildcats on the penalty kill. Ended up tying the game early up at 2. And folks, we'll be back for live third period of action in just about 15 minutes. As a score after 2, it's the Wildcats 2 and the Sun Devils 2 in the second game of the Cactus Cup here on Arizona State Hockey YouTube. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the live third period action of Arizona State Hockey YouTube's presentation of the 2019 Division I Men's ACHA Ice Hockey. I am Brett Vaughn. As we come into this game 0-0 technically, as it's 2-2 tied up, as it was 2 goals by Arizona State after the Wildcats opened the affair. Ended up being only 1 goal scored by the Wildcats, and that was our only goal of the second period. As we'll have the Sun Devils moving from right to left on your screen. And it's also going to be about 1 minute and 8 seconds of 4-on-4 play before the Sun Devils are on a brief power play. And we are underway at Oceanside Ice Arena. Timor for the Wildcats. Skates it up himself. Timor gains a blue line. Takes it down low. AI's up for a shot. Moore ended up making a punch save. But now the Sun Devils go the other way. Lackey, stick handling with speed. Lackey with the shot on. GC rebound in front, but cleared away by the Wildcats. Player trying to get a stick on it. Timor gets it right back. Timor. Now to Plumoff. Surveying. Ends up making a pass to Decker, but it was right in his skates, and he couldn't corral. Plurd. 2-on-2 action. Plurd ends up getting shown the corner by the defenseman Hull and loses control of the puck. Decker had to be careful of touching the puck to make sure it wasn't too many men, and he ends up switching spots with Max Meyer. It being about a brief 10 seconds of power play time for the Sun Devils, possibly a easier zone entry. Plurd ends up dumping the puck down in deep. Broken play almost came to the forward Shaw. And now we're back to 5-on-5 action. Shaw ends up getting the puck on a bad change for the Wildcats. Shaw with the snapshot on! Ends up getting taken down and flying into the boards hard as he gets himself back up. Osworth on Dungy. McLaughlin takes a hard hit from Dungy in the corner. Cleared. Cross-ice pass to Jet Larson. Larson, the snapshot on, ends up getting redirected and missing the net. Play is starting to open up a little bit near now. We haven't had a whistle in about 2 minutes. Husted couldn't keep the puck in. Kicking it to his teammate was Marshall. Flat out of the box, had to rush one of the defensemen for U of A to make that pass. Cusinelli whips around, ends up snapping his shot wide. Platt flips it up into the air into the neutral zone. Leaves the pressure for the Sun Devils. Wildcats trying to finish off a change early in this third period. Moore, a hard rim, ends up turning the puck over. Westland ends up getting the puck to the front. Timor keeps it in for the Wildcats. Timor faking the pass, still has it. Timor, tight turn, trying to get it by Platt, he does. Below, Westland just centers that in front. Chambers has ended up to put it out of danger for Arizona State and go for a change. Turned over by Platt. Platt is trying to make a pass on his backhand side, mishandles it and loses control. To his credit, he gets it right back. Area pass, finds Slavic. Slavic couldn't get it out of his skates, ends up eating a check. Now to Searing. Searing ends up getting thrown down on his keister, and it's going to be a penalty awarded to the Wildcats. Searing gingerly getting up off the ice. And it's going to be a cross-checking call to the defenseman Ben Jones. And as we head into this third period, it's every play gets magnified now, and in terms of where the game is going to head, and Arizona State has a power play opportunity. Draw one by Arizona State. Lackey at the point. Out of Porter. Lackey again, trying to find a lane. He doesn't see anything. Studioso gives it right back to Lackey. Studioso, cross-ice pass to Crook. It's caught up in his equipment and will blow it down. And it was assistant coach Jim Nellis calling Studioso over during that stoppage and relaying some information he's seen from his bench. Arizona State couldn't enter in the zone cleanly, and Porter has to go back in his own zone. 30 seconds has elapsed on the 2-minute minor to Jones. Studioso, cross-ice play to Plurd. Plurd looking, ends up getting pressured by a Wildcat defender. Ends up having to pass it. Studioso trying to turn back down around, but Armstrong will throw him up against the wall. Crook, 3 Sun Devils digging forward, and they're able to retrieve the puck. Lackey at the point, walking it. Studioso has a lane. Studioso shooting! And Bivelsic was able to make the stop due to his good positioning. So about 62 seconds left on the man advantage for the Sun Devils. They're going to elect to switch power play units. Bivelsic tonight, 26 saves for the Wildcat goaltender, 28 saves by Bronson Moore. It's been a pretty even game as well, reflected on the scoreboard. Shaw ends up having to take the draw, and he'll end up winning the draw. Husted winds up and fires, and Bivelsic is there to make another stop with the crest of his jersey. Sun Devils, with this power play unit being a little more direct where they're putting the puck. Chambers protecting it. Ends up fumbling the puck. Husted thought he had Hosworth up at the point, but Hosworth was a little more in the middle, and Sun Devils are going to have to regroup. Dungy ends up trying to clear the puck out, but ends up getting redirected and out of play, and that face-off's going to be just outside the Arizona State zone. Husted and Marshall in the circle. Draw one by Marshall. He plays it back to Armstrong, and Armstrong is going to strong arm it all the way down. Osworth waiting for Husted to swing. He'll give it the puck to him now. Husted toe dragging around the forechecker. Jet Larson ends up winding that puck down in the corner. Osworth keeps it in down low. Husted circling around. Husted fakes the drop pass. Husted still has it to Larson. Larson with the shot on. Just a little too high and above the net of Bivelsic. And we're back to even as Arizona has killed off that 2-minute minor. Arizona State cycling now. Shaw plays it back over to Larson. Larson ends up losing handle of it. Comes to Chambers. Chambers with the point shot on as that goes a little too high and allows the Wildcats a free breakout. Both teams go for a wholesale change. Under 14 minutes left in this third period. Aaron pass by Crook. It's a turnover, 3-on-2. Wildcats now a wrist shot on from Stahlhuth, misses wide. That was a golden opportunity right in front of the net of Moore. Crook trying to make a better decision than last time. He does with Studioso. No icing called. Arizona trying to negotiate the forecheck of Arizona State, and they do. D to D. Sun Devils quickly back in. Porter with a quick shot on as Bivelsic puts it aside. Another shot on. Rebound still in front to Lackey. Lackey with the shot on ends up getting blocked away as kneeling over is the defenseman Timor. Crook. Down low in the corner. Trying to find it. It's Dungy. Dungy with a weak pass, but ends up getting the puck out. McLaughlin in his own zone. DDD with Crook. Crook. Cross-ice pass gets intercepted. Cusinelli gets around Crook. Cusinelli again, but Studioso steers him aside. Hoffenkamp ends up beating a check and ends up roofing the puck off the netting. And it's going to end up being deemed no change, but for their benefit, not a delay of game call, which would have resulted in a penalty. That was a good few minutes for Arizona State, as they had a few waves of sustained zone pressure on the offensive side. Draw one by the Wildcats, and Studioso ended up blocking the point shot from a hole, and he'll chip it down, and that'll allow Arizona State to go for a change. Hole ends up breaking the puck out to Wade. Wade throws the puck down low. Hosworth gets ridden into by Westland. Searing's able to get the puck at the half wall, but couldn't chip it by Jones. Westland through the middle. Westland with the wrist shot on, and it's a toe save by Moore. Wheeling around the offensive zone, Lowell. But he gets his pass intercepted by Palumbo. Palumbo trying to chip it around Lowell, he can't. Puck's in front of the bench of Arizona State. Ends up being cleared in the neutral zone. That'll allow the Sun Devils to finish off a change. Miscommunication, Hosworth and Wade go in the corner. Caught up in his skates. And it's a skate pass over to his defensive partner, Lanfer. Husted absorbs a check. Absorbs one more from Plumoff, and he slows the play down. Hosworth, stretch pass. It'll find Plurd. Plurd ends up getting taken down, as it's going to end up being another penalty to the Wildcats. Going to end up being a hooking call, as Player was able to enter in the zone untouched, first off because the Wildcat player was trying to finish off a change, and it would have been too many men if he hopped on the ice too early. And then it ended up resulting in him taking a penalty later in that shift of that slashing call. So it's another Arizona State power play opportunity again, and as the game's tied at 2. Sun Devils win it. Down the corner, Plurd. Getting harassed by Rowe. Wildcats really aggressive with this penalty kill, and they're able to break the puck out. Bailey Marshall. Area pass on the redirection, and it's going to be delayed call on Arizona State. Bivelsic comes to the bench for an extra attacker. Finally touched up by Lackey, and almost the same thing that happened the last time Arizona State had a power play. It was only a few seconds into it, and they end up committing a penalty themselves. Again, when both of these coaches go back to the drawing board, they're going to have to circle special teams as a point of emphasis for them to work on for their next games. For their next games, Arizona is going to be still on the road as they're going to head to Oklahoma and play the University of Oklahoma in Central Oklahoma October 3rd through the 5th. For Arizona State, they're also going to be heading to Oklahoma as well in that same time frame. Draw one by the Wildcats up to the point. Hole. Wrist shot on, as standing right in front of the goaltender Moore was Jesse Lowell, and he couldn't get a redirection on it. And it was great eye discipline by Moore to be able to stay in positioning and track that puck. Puck still in the circle. Howell's able to put it through one of the Arizona State defenders and cycle it back down. Ends up getting his pass taken over by Lanford, and Lanford is trying to hit the stretch player with Studioso at the far blue line, but didn't get enough mustard on it. Puck's played by Moore. He'll leave it for Studioso. Reverse pass to Lanford. Lanford evades the forechecker just enough, but he gets some help from Plurd. Plurd ends up being taken to the corner. Arizona State will try to break out once more. About 45 seconds left of 4-on-4 action. Studioso now in the neutral zone, marauding his way forward. Studioso stops. Cross-ice pass to Plurd out of the reach for him. Studioso dumps it all the way down deep and goes for a change. Rowe out of his own zone as some of his line mates go for a change. Puck played out. It'll find Cusinelli. Cusinelli drop pass to Marshall, but it was a beautiful read by Husted, and it could be a 2-on-1. Husted and Lackey. Husted to Lackey. Lackey, wrist shot on as Bivelsic was able to make the chest stop. That was how Arizona State got one of their first goals, as it was a turnover at the defensive blue line for them, and they were able to transition quickly. That time I think Husted would have wanted to possibly play that rush a little quicker, although he was trying to delay some time for his line mate Lackey to jump into the play. Looked like the Wildcats were trying to sneak on, but with the Sun Devils being the home team, they get the last change. And Rowe will have to jump back on. Husted and Bailey Marshall in the circle. Draw one by Marshall. Shaw's able to get there with his extra effort. Keep that puck down low in the corner. And now we're out of 4-on-4 as Husted's effectively killing a penalty now for about 20 seconds. Shaw keeping the puck down low, not allowing the Wildcats to break the puck out. Marshall floats a pass over to the defenseman Ben Jones. He skates it out. Hosworth there with an active stick. Ends up putting the Wildcats offside. Well, during that duration, the Sun Devils penalty has expired, and we're back to even strength hockey. $8:53 left in the second period, or pardon me, the third period, and you can feel the tension inside Oceanside Ice Arena as it's been a very somewhat quiet period by the crowd here. Armstrong. Out of the reach of his forward, Wade. Lanford chips it in for Arizona State as they're trying to tag up. Jet Larson able to strip the puck away from Armstrong, but it's an errant pass, forces the Sun Devils to have to go back into the neutral zone. Larson trying to get that puck out of his skates, plays it up to Slavic. Slavic has to be quick about it and throw it back down deep safely. Not deemed a high tip, and icing's waved off. Platt gets it quickly up to Larson. Chambers has his defenseman Slavic jump into the play. Chambers around a player. Chambers with a quick shot on as Bivelsic is able to make the stop, and it was some great imagination shown by Michael Chambers, almost like he's a Walt Disney Imagineer, and he almost put that puck past the goaltender Bivelsic. We're the fourth line for Arizona State out. Browder, Hoffenkamp, and Searing. Browder with the puck, cycles it back down low. Hoffenkamp is able to stretch his stick out and keep the puck close by. Trying to get it. Hoffenkamp trying to send that puck in front. He can't. Sun Devils doing a good job of sustained zone pressure, but Searing ends up having the puck jump over his stick. And it'll be Trey Decker dumping it in for the Wildcats. Olsen has it down low. Kruk puts it out of danger and out into the neutral zone. Plumoff slowly enters in. Soft shot on, blockered away by Moore into the corner. Kruk chops at it. Faking the shot was Timor, and he just throws it back down. Oh, and a dangerous play as Kruk went hard to the boards, but luckily he was able to brace himself just in time. Searing on the right side. Only Sun Devil out there as he gets a short angle shot on as they're finishing off a change. Under 7 minutes left in this third period. Puck down low, Plumoff. Out of the reach of the defenseman Slavic, and it's going to be an icing on the play. Draw is going to be in the offensive zone for the Wildcats. Marshall ends up getting that draw, win intercepted by Lanfer. A hard rim around will find Lackey. Lackey evading Cusinelli. Lackey around two Wildcats players. Now through the middle. Lackey all by himself. Lackey plays that puck around the net. Porter didn't read it correctly, and the Wildcats will chip the puck out. Studioso waiting. Finds a streaking Lackey through the middle. Porter to Lackey. Lackey back to Porter. Porter with the shot on. Ends up getting blocked by Timor. Turnover now. Wildcats with a 3-on-2. Poor pass. End up being by Anthony Cusinelli into the skates of Stahlhuth, and they lose control of the puck. Lackey, again near the end of his shift, gets taken down, and he's also going to be getting a penalty call. And you have to imagine the law of averages are going to eventually go in the Sun Devils' favor in terms of them capitalizing on the power play. Some great heart and tenacity shown by Clayton Lackey, using his speed near the end of a shift and dog tired, and ended up committing a penalty. Like head coach Chad Berman is trying to get a quick explanation from the referee. But regardless, the penalty will still be called. Puck's out in front, and it was Plumoff is able to pass that puck all the way down and will force Moore to come out of his net. Husted. Saucer past Chambers, does just enough to glove it down. Puck still flying around. Chambers now up to the point. One-timer shot as Husted, can't believe his luck tonight, ends up breaking two sticks. Now Hosworth, and that shot ends up getting blocked by sprawling Plumoff. Larson wheeling around. Larson takes it straight to the net, and I think ends up missing the net completely and hitting the apron of it. Kept in by Hosworth at the point, walking the line, fakes the shot, looking for the shot pass, and he gets the redirection, but Cusinelli was able to get his chest on that left side of the net and able to cover the puck up. It's going to be a tight, bumpy ride to the finish, and we appreciate everybody tuning in tonight here on Arizona State Hockey YouTube, all 128 of you. Draw will be to the left of the goaltender, Bivol-Sitch. It'll be Meyer losing the draw to Studioso. Porter throws a puck down, about a minute left on the man advantage, and that puck gets redirected up into the netting. As the linesmen were trying to figure out what side of the ice the face-off should end up being on, it'll come over back to that left side again. And another draw win by Studioso. Plurd takes the draw pass. Getting harassed by Meyer, ends up forcing and turning the puck up to Studioso. Studioso gives it right back. Lackey at the point now. One-time opportunity for Porter, ends up getting blocked by his own man Studioso. Wildcats now sees an opportunity to go the other way. Coming hard, a backhand shot on. Trying to follow up his rebound with Stahlhuth. Sun Devils now with Clayton Lackey heading back into the offensive zone. Lackey button hooking. Throws it down low, but none of his Sun Devil teammates were there, and that'll be cleared all the way down. About 20 seconds left. Moore ends up taking the puck himself behind his own net. He has to get rid of it quickly. Ends up losing out to Dawson Marshall. Bailey trying to fight through a check of Palumbo. Hoffenkamp takes it away, though. Hoffenkamp with speed, getting forced up on the right side. Ends up eating a few checks, trying to get his way through. Gets it right back. Hoffenkamp ends up eluding another defender. Still with the puck, up at the point. Husted with the wrist shot on as Bivelsic throws the rebound down into the corner. And Arizona has killed that 2-minute minor, and now we're back to 5-on-5 hockey. Marshall stick handling his way out of the zone. His brother Dawson. Dawson ends up blowing a tire. Platt the other way. Platt trying to get the puck handled down. Ends up beating a check from Westland, and we're having some end-to-end action now. Cusinelli looking, trying to get that redirection from Timor, but ends up missing wide. Couldn't be kept in by Dungy as Lackey was there. Both teams are starting to shorten up their benches now as this game is possibly into almost sudden death hockey. As you say, the next goal that scores is most likely going to win it. About 2:30 left in this third period. Sun Devils trying to finish off a change. Rowe in his own zone. Up top, Studioso intercepts it, but gives it right back. Dungy now with speed on the left side. Dungy gets a puck caught up in his skates. Lanford puts him down in the corner. Porter activating as the centerman in the defensive zone. Trying to beat Kyle Wade to the puck. Wade comes out with it, though. A center in front! As, oh, man, Jesse Lowell was wide open, and he's got to be kicking himself as he ended up not getting all of the shot he wanted on it, and Moore is able to make the save. Shots are 34-32 in advantage of the Wildcats. Again, they've been pretty even so far tonight. Husted wins the draw. Hosworth, soft rim around, eludes Shaw, but gets some help from Plurd. Now it'll be Husted. Husted hesitating. Now putting on the brakes. Shot on, rebound still in front and loose, and it's patted away by Bivelsic. Trying to find in the corner. Shaw goes in, and possibly a little too aggressively, as now there's some extracurriculars afterwards. It'll be interesting to see how the penalties are going to be divvied up here. As it looked like it ended up being Westland and Shaw being tangled up once that play was whistled dead. So the penalty box door is going to be open for Shaw. And now the referees, I'm not sure if they're deliberating if it was only going to be one penalty or possibly more than that. And it looks like it's also going to end up being Christopher Westland heading to the box as well. And so for the duration of this third period, it's going to be 4-on-4 hockey, almost a preview possibly to what we might see if we go back to another overtime game tonight.
Christopher Westland, 2 minutes for roughing. On ASU, number 22, Braden Shaw, 2 minutes for boarding.
So it's going to be a boarding call to Shaw and a roughing call to Westland. Ends up having us play 4-on-4 hockey for the last minute and 40 seconds of this game. Plurd and Plum off in the face-off circle. Draw one by Plurd. He keeps it, finds Husted. Husted with the quick shot on. And it's a pad stop by the goaltender Bivelstich, and it goes out of play. I think possibly Husted had more time than he thought. As he had, it seemed like a lane to the net possibly. Wildcats get the puck after the face-off. It's a one-on-one play. Crook doing a beautiful job in terms of stick positioning, keeping Trey Decker to the outside and not allowing him to get through him. In any case, draw is going to end up having to be taken in the Arizona State defensive zone. Marshall wins the draw. Timor fans on the pass, still has it though. Fights off a check from Crook. Couldn't get around Plurd, kept in by Rowe. Puck not really settling down. Arizona State electing to go with only one defenseman out here on this 4-on-4. Puck being centered by Marshall, and that's put away into the corner by Hoffenkamp, and he'll have some time and space. Under 60 seconds left as that shot from the perimeter from Hoffenkamp gets redirected from the pad of Bivelstich, and we'll have a stoppage. 57 seconds left. 4-on-4 hockey again for the remainder of this period, and it's 2-2. Studioso couldn't get around Bailey Marshall. Could be a abbreviated breakaway. Cusinelli's fighting his way in. Oh, and a beautiful stop by Bronson Moore on Cusinelli. Lanford for the Sun Devils to Porter. Porter to Studioso now. Studioso drops it for Lackey. Lackey gets it right back to Studioso. Studioso looking, and he just waited a little too much. And I think it was caught in no man's land, either shoot or pass the puck, and he didn't do either. Lackey, head up. Just out of the reach for Studioso, but it's a tipped puck, and icing's waved off. Under 20 seconds now. Rowe out of his own net. Lackey almost intercepting that pass at the blue line. Wildcats a little tired. That'll allow the Sun Devils to try and break out their own zone. Osworth to Lackey, now to Porter. 3 seconds left. A quick shot on. Bivelstich makes the stop. And with 0.9 seconds left, possibly maybe one more scoring opportunity. As Lackey was talking with head coach Tate Green on possibly pulling the goaltender, as just having an extra man out there just in case, as this period will expire in any case. It's got to have to be a clean win by Husted, and has to be a very quick shot opportunity taken by the Sun Devils. And so that ends up resulting in Husted having to be kicked out. Lackey is going to end up taking the draw. See if anything comes of it. Marshall's in the zone for the Wildcats. And Lackey was trying to shoot himself actually off the draw, but ends up missing wide. And so for the second consecutive night tonight, it's going to end up being 3-on-3 overtime again, like we did last night. Last night it ended up falling in favor for the Wildcats, as we had a few brief periods of end-to-end action, which resulted in a breakaway stop by Anthony Churro for the Wildcats, and they ended up going down the other way and scoring. This also might result into also a weird complication, as 20 seconds are left on those coincidental minor penalties against both teams, and I think when they hop out onto the ice sheet that they're going to actually be playing 4-on-4 until there will be a whistle. Again, if after this 5-minute period, if it ends up being still a tied score, they're going to end up having to resolve the game in a shootout. Arizona State, in terms of their line combinations, I imagine they're going to stick with the same way they have been all night when they've been on 4-on-4, which is going to be having 3 forwards and 1 defenseman. We just have about 25 seconds left on this abbreviated intermission between the third period and overtime. Also, too, something to be wary of is both teams are switching nets, which results again in that long change, which could possibly generate a few more scoring chances. So Studioso, Plurd, and Lackey. It's actually going to be all forwards out there for Arizona State. For the Wildcats, Bailey Marshall, Matthew Hull, and Ben Jones. So it's actually going to be 2 defensemen for the Wildcats and 1 forward. And our faceoff will take place at center ice. Lackey needs some help from his winger. Plurd ends up getting it for him. Plurd ends up getting body into the corner, and it's turned over. Bailey Marshall sashaying his way into the zone. Marshall looking for that redirection shot, but it goes wide. Studioso building up speed. He'll take it in on the left side. Now we're going to have that 4-on-4 action like I was alluding to earlier. Shot on from Plurd. Ends up being paddled away by Bivelsic. Westland the other way by himself as his 3 line mates go for a change. Coming off the bench ends up being Manny Rowe. Rowe with the clapper on. Ends up being blocked and down in the corner. Sun Devils trying to slow the play down. Lackey drops it down for Studioso. He'll come in with a little bit of time and space. Kicks it out to Kruk. Kruk, hard rim around. It'll find Jet Larson off the bench. Larson couldn't read that redirection off the kick plate of the boards and turns the puck over. Westland, he gets it stripped away by Larson. Rowe, area pass. Timor now with it. Timor, cross ice play to Westland. Westland, he gets the puck poked away by Husted. More, almost a dangerous turnover as Timor, if he was a little more aware, could have intercepted that play. Husted dekes around plumb off, but loses at the opposing blue line. Kruk, out of the reach of Porter. A few hacks, ends up getting the puck once more. Porter sends it in front to Larson, and Larson with the shot and a left pad stop from the goaltender Bivelsic. Porter switching, Lanford now, point shot on, ends up hitting Larson in the pants. Cusinelli for the Wildcats on the right side. Cusinelli goes into the middle, plays onside. Cusinelli, short angle shot on, saved by the blocker of Moore. Sun Devils slow the play down in their own zone. Porter, head up, finds Lanford activating the defenseman. Lanford, soft area chip, still trying to pursue the puck. And he'll throw it down in deep. Just about half the overtime period has expired already. Studioso, hard rims around, gets it intercepted behind the net by Rowe. Rowe, saucer pass to Marshall. Marshall against Lackey. Marshall with the wrist shot on, and Lackey looked like he could play defenseman as well as forward. Ends up blocking the shot with his stick and out of play. .2:19 left in that second period, and it ended up being Jet Larson probably the best chance so far in this overtime period, as when he got that cross crease pass and tried to shoot it, but just didn't get enough air underneath it and ended up making a leg stop by Bivilsic. It's going to end up being a timeout taken by head coach Chad Berman and the Arizona Wildcats. Definitely interesting to see how it's going to be shaking out for both of these teams, as Arizona came into the weekend in the preseason poll ranked number 10th in the nation after a school historic year last year. Arizona State has definitely improved from where they were last season. But again, it's so early to tell how both of these teams will end up doing. Draw is going to be in the Arizona State defensive zone. Lackey trying to stick his way through. Marshall, he can. It's kept in by Cusinelli. Cusinelli. He ends up getting the puck taken away by Plurd. And crisis averted for the Sun Devils. Now it's 3-on-3 play. Studioso hops onto the ice. Miscommunication. Lackey will take it out of his own zone now. Lackey to Studioso. Studioso ends up having some miscommunication on the pass, and the Sun Devils are going to have to build up speed again in their own zone. Lackey dicing through the middle. Passes to himself. He enters in the zone. Lackey trying to center that in front. Ends up getting blocked by the skate of Bailey and Marshall. Cusinelli tight turning his own zone. Over to Timor. Timor ends up losing out. Plurd backhand pass to Platt. He's trying to settle it down. Platt ends up electing to take the puck out as the Sun Devils try to finish a change. Minute 15 left in this overtime period. Studioso back in his own zone. He elects to skate it up himself. Studioso. Studioso trying to get that redirection play, and him and Porter couldn't connect. Stahlhuth on the left side by himself. Stahlhuth trying to take it in. Still has it. Stahlhuth. He's trying to pass it once more, but Platt intercepts it. It's 1-on-1. Could be a 2-on-1. Porter's trying to hustle up. Husted with the wrist shot on. Ends up missing wide. Platt can't keep the puck in, and he'll take it out in the neutral zone. Puck couldn't settle down for Husted. Porter gets stapled to the boards. Now about 35 seconds left. Stahlhuth, 2-on-1. Stahlhuth with a shot on. Ended up being saved by Moore. I think he was just dead tired near the end of his shift, and he didn't recognize Westland coming in for a possible odd man opportunity. Now it's going to end up being a timeout, this time for Arizona State, with a defensive zone draw. About 33 seconds left. A few good scoring chances in this overtime period. Arizona possibly, you can say, have the upper hand with this offensive zone draw. I imagine they're trying to figure out a possible set play. Try to have a one-timer opportunity if available to them. For the Sun Devils, Husted, Plurd, and Lackey will come out to defend this defensive zone draw. Marshall in the draw for U of A. They're both trying to battle for the puck. And Husted's able to do just enough to turn him away. Husted trying to make it past himself. He almost turned it over. Moore's able to come out of his own net. He loses it in his skates. Plurd, tight turns around. He has some space now, about 10 seconds left. Plurd, 7 seconds. Plurd, the shot on! As Plurd was able to intelligently looked like the defenseman that time, which was Ben Jones, as a partial screen for the goaltender Bivilsic to have to look through, and He almost snuck one past him on the stick side. So we're going to have about 4.5 seconds left in this zone opportunity for Arizona State. Husted ends up being taken down. Lackey has some time. Lackey waits, elects for the backhand shot, ends up getting blocked. And we'll head to the shootout. I think if Lackey ends up looking at the tape again, he probably would have elected to shoot that puck a little quicker, as he ended up electing for the backhand and ends up getting blocked with only so much time left on the clock. As the referee is asking, another home ice advantage is being able to, if you go into the shootout, of electing if you're going to be shooting first or second. So shooting first for Arizona State will be number 11, Elliot Plurd. Puck cutting through the middle. He has it on his forehand. Now Plurd ends up fanning on the snapshot. Sometimes those goes in, though, as if you can maybe throw a change up to the goaltender, but Bivelsic was in good position and made the stop. For the Wildcats, it's going to be the New Jersey native Anthony Cusinelli. Cusinelli shooting now. Coming in from the right side. Now to his left. Cusinelli looking out of the backhand, and an unbelievable stop. Sprawling on his stomach was Bronson Moore to throw his left-hand glove up and make the stop. So after round number one, no teams have scored. And to start off the second round, Clayton Lackey starting up the blue line. Now slowing down his pace. Lackey on the forehand side. Lackey coming in and shoots. He scores! Clayton Lackey waited out the goaltender Bivelsic to commit going down for that spread eagle save. And he ended up fitting it in on the right side of the goaltender Bivelsic. And we're going to have Bailey Marshall now in the second round for the Wildcats. Marshall on his forehand side. Marshall coming in again. Marshall looking, shooting, and he ends up shooting it high. I don't think that puck ended up settling down for him with this ice being all chewed up after 3 periods of play. And he ended up roofing it over the net. Now be Andrew Husted. If he can make this, the Sun Devils go home a winner. Husted weaving in from right to left. Husted now coming in, snapshot on, he scores! And the Sun Devils win in the shootout. As it looks like it's half of the bench is jumping onto Husted and half of the bench is jumping onto the goaltender Bronson Moore. And the Sun Devils even up the Cactus Cup at 1-1. Analyzing that shot from Husted, he came in from the left side and as a right-hander had a better angle at a shot, and he ended up beating the goaltender Bivelsic to the glove side. And some great hockey showcase this weekend here in Arizona. As with that shootout win, that'll end up moving the Sun Devils to 2-1 on the season and 2-1 at home. It'll also move the Wildcats to 1-0-1, losing in the shootout. And with the conclusion of this game, it's now time for our star player, brought to you by Hungry Howie's Flavored Crusted Pizza. And for our star tonight, it's going to be number 19, Clayton Lackey. Was just making a big difference throughout the weekend, not only on the offensive side, but also the defensive side, as well as being able to score in the shootout to help secure this win for his Sun Devils. Definitely an amazing game for everybody to partake in. We appreciate everyone tuning in as well. As we'd like to welcome you inside our Oh Boy Alberto Beef Jerky press box, I am Brett Vaughn. As with Arizona State getting the win in the shootout tonight, it was a tough-fought 2 games this weekend as U of A ended up taking the first game of the Cactus Cup and Arizona State answering right back. Folks, again, we appreciate so much for everyone tuning in tonight. As I like to say, thank you to a few special people that can help make this broadcast possible. Our cameraman tonight was Zachary Teed. Our statistician tonight was Wilfred Chang. Our producer was Justine Cooper. And our broadcast engineer at Network Central was John Vaughn. Folks, this is Brett Vaughn reminding you of our next broadcast, which will end up being taking place October 11th as the Sun Devils host the Grand Canyon Antelopes. From everybody at Arizona State Hockey, again, we say thank you so much for tuning in and letting you know of tonight's final score. Arizona State Sun Devils win it in the shootout tonight by the score of 3-2 over the University of Arizona Wildcats. Thank you so much for tuning in, and good night from Oceanside Ice Arena in Tempe, Arizona.